The sun was setting over the small town of Ogbeek, casting an orange hue across the cracked walls of the Ease family's one-room mud house. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of pepper soup and harsh accusations. Outside, the chickens scratched restlessly in the dry earth, unaware of the tension building within the four walls. 12-year-old Amarachi sat on the floor near the door, her back against the rough wall, her eyes staring into nothing. Her clothes were soaked with sweat and dust, her fingers scraped and sore from a long day of hawking groundnuts under the hot sun. Yet despite the hunger that churned in her belly, the plate of steaming soup on the wooden table wasn't meant for her. "Mama, please," she whispered, voice cracking with exhaustion. "I haven't eaten anything since morning. Just small soup." Her mother, Nkechi, shot her a glare so sharp it could slice yam. "And you still have the mouth to talk? After everything you've caused this family, you still open mouth ask for food?" Amarachi's lips trembled. "But I didn't do anything." "Shut up," Nkechi snapped, slamming her palm against the table. The plate shook violently. "You think I'm blind? You think I don't know it's you that brought all this wahala into this house? Mama, please, I'm your daughter." "My daughter?" Nkechi scoffed, arms akimbo. "From the moment you were born, things started to scatter. Your papa lost his job 2 weeks after your naming ceremony. 2 weeks. Since then, nothing good has entered this house. You think I don't see how people avoid me in the market? You think I don't hear them whisper Nkechi way-born winch behind my back?" Tears welled up in Amarachi's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She hugged her knees tighter. "Mama, they're lying. I've never done anything. I swear." Nkechi turned to her elder daughter, Ifeoma, who was sitting on the edge of the bed, arms folded, her eyes cast downward. "Ifeoma, tell her what that prophet said at the crusade last week." Ifeoma hesitated. Her lips parted slightly as though she wanted to say something different. But she caught her mother's fiery gaze and nodded slowly. He said the spirit of witchcraft is in this house," Ifeoma mumbled, not looking at Amarachi. "And he looked straight at Amarachi when he said it." Amarachi gasped. "Ifeoma, why would you say that? You know it's not true. You know me." Ifeoma looked away, guilt flickering across her face like a candle in the wind. Nkechi took a step closer to Amarachi. "Tell me, why is it that every time we get small breakthrough, something bad happens? When your father finally got that job in Port Harcourt, you fell sick the night before he was supposed to travel. Hospital drained all the money. Job gone. And now our last bag of Gary disappeared 2 days ago. Where did it go, Amarachi?" "I don't know," Amarachi cried. "I didn't take anything." "Liar," Nkechi barked. "You even bewitched my sleep. Every night since last week, I dream that you're pressing my chest like one evil spirit. I wake up sweating and gasping. That's not me, Mama. That's not me. Maybe it's just stress." "You call me mad?" Nkechi screamed. "You say I daydream nonsense?" "No, Mama, I didn't mean." Before she could finish, a slap landed across her cheek. Amarachi fell sideways with a yelp, clutching her face as fresh tears streamed down. "You think I won't teach you a lesson?" Nkechi hissed. "From today, no more food for you in this house until you confess." "But there's nothing to confess. I swear on God, I didn't do anything." "Then starve. Starve until the devil inside you comes out." Ifeoma looked away again, blinking back her own tears, her hands tightening into fists. Amarachi crawled slowly to the wall and rested her head on her knees. The pain on her cheek was nothing compared to the one in her heart. The woman who gave birth to her had turned into someone she didn't know, someone who looked at her like a plague. Her only sister was too scared to speak up. Her stomach rumbled, and her mouth felt dry as sand. Outside, the wind picked up, blowing dust into the doorway. The chickens scattered. Far off, a dog howled. "Mama," Amarachi said softly, almost too weak to speak. "If you don't love me anymore, where should I go?" Nkechi sat down on the stool and began eating the soup with loud slurps, ignoring her. "Go anywhere the devil that sent you wants you to go. I'm tired." Amarachi turned to Ifioma with desperate eyes. Please, sister. Just one wrap of EBA. They'll sleep outside. Ifioma looked torn, but Nkechi barked, Ifioma, if you touch that food, you'll sleep outside with her. Amarachi shut her eyes, letting the tears soak her dusty cheeks. In her heart, she wanted to scream, to ask God why he let this happen. What crime had she committed by being born? She stayed by the door all night, shivering, her stomach tight with hunger and betrayal. And somewhere in the silent shadows of the compound, something darker watched her, whispering softly. The world had rejected her, but the unknown hadn't. The morning sun rose reluctantly over Ogbik, hidden behind thick gray clouds that threatened rain. The birds chirped, the scent of damp earth floated in the air, and the entire village began to buzz with the usual hustle of traders and schoolchildren. But inside the Ease household, a storm brewed far worse than the one in the sky. Amarachi was still curled outside on the veranda, wrapped in the same dusty wrapper shed used the night before. Her face was pale, her lips cracked, and her stomach had given up complaining after growling through the night. The only sound in her chest now was silence. She stirred slightly when she heard hurried voices from inside. Mama, come quick. Ifioma's voice shrieked. Komeo, Papa and we had an accident. Nkechi's footsteps thundered out of the house. Amarachi raised her head, confused and weak, just as she saw Ifioma limping into the compound with blood on her elbow, supporting their father, who held his side and groaned in pain. Jesus! Nkechi screamed, running toward them. What happened? God of Elijah, what is this? Mama, Ifioma gasped, tears streaming. We fell. The Okada lost control near the market junction. We hit the gutter. I think Papa's ribs. They're broken. Nkechi wailed, holding her head. Chai! My enemies have finally finished me. Amarachi tried to stand but staggered. Ifioma, Papa, are you okay? Her mother turned sharply. So you're still here, witch? She spat on the ground. You really want to finish us completely, eh? No, Mama. I swear, I didn't do anything. You were outside the house all night, weren't you? Plotting, calling evil spirits with your silence. I didn't. I was just hungry and cold. I just wanted to sleep in peace. Nkechi grabbed a long broomstick from beside the door and charged at her. You evil child. You won't stop until this family is in the grave. Amarachi backed away, but the broomstick landed across her back with a loud whack. Mama! No! Stop! Ifioma shouted weakly, but Nkechi wasn't listening. You made them fall! Nkechi screamed, striking again. You cursed them. First your father's job. Then the Gary, now bones are breaking. Amarachi sobbed, shielding her face with trembling arms. Please! I didn't do anything. Please, Mama. Please. But the beatings continued. A neighbor passing by, Mama Chioma, stopped at the gate. Nkechi, what are you doing? You want to kill that girl? She should die. Nkechi barked. Maybe then peace will return to my house. This girl is not a child. She's a curse in human form. Mama Chioma stepped closer, alarmed. This is getting out of hand. Even if she offended you, this one is too much. Nkechi dropped the broom, panting. Her eyes burned with fury. She will not stay in this house one more minute. In fact, let me end it now. Amarachi lay on the ground, her arms bruised, her chest heaving. She could barely move. You, Nkechi pointed a finger at her. Take your cursed feet and leave this house. Don't come back. Go and join your kind in the forest or wherever witches live. Mama, where will I go? Amarachi whimpered. Nkechi turned to Ifioma. Get me that black nylon. Let her carry her useless clothes and go. Ifioma hesitated. Mama, she's just a child. Where will she sleep? She's not my child. Nkechi screamed. She's the reason my husband is crying inside. Look at my daughter's elbow. Look at my life. She's cursed. Let her go. Reluctantly, Ifioma handed over the small nylon bag containing Amarachi's torn dresses, school sandals with broken straps, and the only photograph she had, one of her at age 6, smiling between her father and sister. Her mother ripped the photo in half and tossed it on the ground. "Take it and go," Kechi shouted. "Mama, please," Amarachi begged, tears falling like rain. "I'll work harder. I'll pray. I'll go before I strip you naked and drag you through the village," Kechi shrieked. Amarachi stood slowly, limping toward the gate, holding the torn nylon bag. Her eyes met Ifeoma's for one brief moment, eyes filled with regret and fear. "I'm sorry, Amarachi," Ifeoma whispered. "I know," Amarachi replied. "I hope one day you'll speak up." Without another word, Amarachi stepped out of the compound, barefoot, wounded, and abandoned. Mama Chioma followed her a few steps. "Come to my house, small girl. At least eat first." But Amarachi shook her head. "Thank you, Ma. But if I eat, they'll say you're teaching me more witchcraft. It'll be fine." She walked into the street, eyes fixed on the dusty horizon. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew one thing: she would never come back. The streets of Ogbik were cruel to the feet and even crueler to the heart. Amarachi walked until her legs wobbled beneath her, her head pounding from heat and hunger. The sun had already begun its slow descent, casting orange shadows over the dusty roads. As children played, women fetched water, and boys in school uniforms ran past her without a second glance. No one looked her way. No one cared. The wrapper she wore clung to her like a second skin soaked with sweat and tears. She clutched the black nylon bag close to her chest like a treasure, though it held nothing but rags and a torn photo. Every face she passed reminded her of her mother's voice, spitting words like daggers. "You cursed this family. Go and join your kind in the forest." She wanted to stop walking, to collapse and just sleep. But where? She passed by a roadside kiosk where the aroma of fried akara filled the air. Her stomach twisted in agony. "Madam, please," she murmured to the woman selling. "Can I wash your plates? Sweep? Anything. I'm hungry." The woman, plump with tired eyes, looked her over suspiciously. "Who are you? Where's your mother?" "I don't have one anymore," Amarachi whispered. The woman scoffed. "This one nah early liar. You small witches like lying too much. Before I open my eyes, waka from here." Amarachi stepped away, holding back tears. She walked past two boys selling oranges by the road. "Fine girl," one of them mocked. "You want buy orange? Abi you no get home?" She looks like one of those people Mom and Ngozi talked about. Abandoned children who day curse people, the other added, laughing. She ran. By nightfall, she found herself sitting under a broken street lamp. The wind had picked up, and her bare arms shivered in the chill. An old man walked by and paused. "You're still here? I saw you this morning." Amarachi nodded, unable to speak. "You hungry?" he asked, his voice hoarse. She nodded again. He reached into his bag and handed her a small wrap of leftover muamua. "It's not much, but God sees." "Thank you, sir," she said, tears spilling again. He shook his head. "Parents now. God will judge them. Be careful out here. No sleep near gutters or you go disappear." She watched him disappear into the shadows. That night, she curled up behind a cement barrier near a locked shop, hiding herself with her wrapper. Mosquitoes buzzed around her, and rats squeaked in the distance. Her dreams were broken pictures. Her father's voice, Ifeoma's bleeding arm, her mother's broomstick flying toward her. When dawn came, Amarachi stood up stiffly, her body aching. She had to eat. She walked toward the busy market square. "Aboki," she called out to a bread seller. "Please, can I hawk bread for you? It'll help you sell it and you can give me small bread in return." The man, wearing a blue kaftan, eyed her suspiciously. "You want run with my bread? I swear I won't." He sighed. "Fine, take this tray. Only this once. If you bring back full money, I'll let you hawk again tomorrow." Amarachi balanced the tray shakily on her head. "Bread. Fresh, sweet bread," she called out, mimicking how other hawkers shouted. A woman stopped her. "How much for the big one?" 500, ma." The woman handed over a note and took one. As Amarachi moved through the market, she sold more, timidly at first, then louder with confidence. By noon, the tray was empty. She walked back to the aboki and handed him the full amount. He smiled. You tried. You hungry? She nodded. He broke a loaf and gave her half. Rest under that umbrella. You fit hawk again tomorrow. Thank you, sir. God bless you. She ate slowly, tears slipping down as the soft bread melted in her mouth. It was the first kindness she had tasted in days. After the market began to close, she knew she needed a place to sleep. She couldn't go back to the shop front. Too many eyes. She wandered toward the outskirts of the village. That's when she saw it. An uncompleted building. The roof was still missing, but the walls were up. Bushes surrounded the front, but the door frame had no door. Inside were broken blocks, a rusted drum, and dry leaves everywhere. She stepped in slowly. Hello? She whispered. No response. There were 2 inner rooms. One had a wooden plank on the floor. She laid her wrapper on it and sat down. This is my home now, she whispered. She began to sweep the dust with her bare hands. It's small, but I'm still alive. The moonlight streamed in from the open roof. The wind howled gently, and Amarachi curled on her wrapper again. Her voice was soft as she spoke into the darkness. I don't know why they hate me, but I will survive. She closed her eyes, listening to the sound of her heartbeat and distant voices from the street. She was alone, but she had survived another day. The first light of morning leaked into the roofless building, casting dusty rays across the rough concrete floor. Amarachi stirred on the plank, her body sore but her mind clearer than it had been in days. For the first time in a while, she hadn't been screamed at. No one had slapped her. No one had blamed her for anything. Just silence. She sat up slowly, rubbed her eyes and stretched. Her wrapper, now her mattress, was still clinging to the roughness of the floor. She rose and looked around. The walls were cold and gray, but they were hers now. She was not a visitor anymore. I need to clean this place, she muttered to herself. With small energy, Amarachi picked up some branches and began sweeping the dirt. She stacked blocks in the corner and found a broken bucket half buried in sand outside. She turned the uncompleted building into something like a home. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. Later that day, she returned to the market square to hawk for the aboki. This time she sold even faster, now knowing which corners brought more buyers. When she returned the full money to him, he handed her a full loaf of bread and a sachet of water. You're a good girl, he said. If anyone asks you, tell them Baba Musa is watching you. No one go touch you. Thank you, Baba Musa, she said, holding back tears. That night, she sat at the edge of the uncompleted building, eating slowly, watching the stars. And then she heard it. A cough. Startled, she stood up. Who's there? Another cough. Then, footsteps. From the shadows emerged a boy, skinny and barefoot, with a black bag slung over his shoulder. Relax, he said. I'm not a thief. She clutched her bread close. Then what are you doing here? I live here, he said. Or, I used to, until last week when I went to look for plastic to sell and someone else took my spot. I didn't know anyone stayed here, Amarachi said softly. It's fine, the boy shrugged. I'll sleep outside. She hesitated. You can stay. There's room. He smiled, walked closer, and dropped his bag. Thank you. Im uche. Amarachi. He nodded. You're new on the street? Yes. What happened? He asked. She stared at the bread in her hand. My mother said I'm a witch. Chased me out. Nobody believes me. Uche sighed. Same with me. After my papa died, my stepmother said I was the one blocking her womb. Said I had a dark spirit. My uncle said I brought misfortune. So I left. They sat in silence. Then he pointed at the bread. You're not going to finish that, are you? She laughed a little and broke it in half. Take. He took it and nodded. You'll get used to this life. It's hard, but at least the sky is big enough for all of us. They both leaned against the wall, sharing bread, stories, and the silence of survival. From that night on, Amarachi wasn't alone. She and Uche cleaned the building together, gathered planks and sacks for bedding, and shared hawking duties. He sold sachet water. She sold bread. Uche showed her which public tap had free water. He taught her where to get free leftover food from a kind bukka woman at closing time. He knew how to laugh even in the middle of pain. One day, as they sat sharing roasted groundnuts, Uche said, "You know what? Let's call this place Heaven House." Amarachi laughed. "This dusty building? Heaven?" He grinned. "Yes, because here nobody beats us. Nobody calls us witches. And we're still alive." She looked around and smiled. "Heaven House," she repeated softly. For the first time in many weeks, her heart felt light. By the third week, the little uncompleted building had started to look like a home. Not just to Amarachi, but to Uche too. Their lives settled into a rhythm. Every morning, Amarachi would rise early, sweep the floor, fold her wrapper neatly, and say a short prayer. She no longer prayed for her mother's love, just for strength. Uche would return from the mosque tap with 2 sachets of water in hand, always smiling. "Wake up, O Madam of Heaven House." Head tease. "Go and sweep your side of the room," Shed snapped playfully. But beneath the jokes, they were surviving, and slowly, they were building something that looked like hope. One sunny morning, while Amarachi was helping Baba Musa count his bread before hawking, an elderly man with tribal marks and a red cap stopped by the stand. "Who be this small girl?" the man asked Baba Musa. "She's Amarachi, one of the good ones," Baba Musa replied. The man nodded thoughtfully. "I like how she carries herself." Amarachi lowered her gaze shyly. The man turned to Uche, who had just walked up. "You boy come." "Yes, sir." "You day strong?" "I day try." "You want work?" Uche glanced at Amarachi, then nodded. "Yes, sir." The man smiled. "I'm Chief Adewale. I run a timber workshop, cutting, loading, smoothing wood for export. No stealing, no laziness. I like obedient boys. Come to my site tomorrow." Uche grinned. "Thank you, sir." As the chief walked away, Amarachi smiled. "You see your life? From gutter boy to apprentice." That evening, they sat at their usual corner outside Heaven House, sharing puff-puff and talking about the future. "I think I want to go back to school," Amarachi said softly. Uche turned to her. "For real?" "Yes. I saw a government primary school not too far from the market. I spoke to a cleaner there. They said some girls come without uniforms. They just want to learn." Uche nodded. "It'll help you. If Chief pays me every Friday, it'll keep small money for your books. But what about you? I'll learn the trade. One day I'll open my own workshop. But you have brains. You used to speak better English before, I noticed." Amarachi laughed. "My mum used to be a teacher, before everything went bad." Uche looked at her. "You'll become someone big. I know it." The next day, Uche started his training under Chief Adewale. He returned that evening covered in sawdust and bruises, but smiling. "Chief said I learn fast," he announced. "He said if I stay loyal, he might teach me furniture design." Amarachi clapped her hands. "Designer boy, you go soon make chair for president." He grinned. "How was your school?" "I joined a free class. It was so good. Uche, I even answered questions." The teacher smiled at me. Uche looked at her like a proud brother. "I'm happy for you, Amara." Weeks passed. Uche's hands grew stronger. Amarachi's writing got neater. They saved together 1 naira at a time. One Sunday, they sat under the tree outside Heaven House. "I bought you something," Uche said, pulling a small nylon bag from his pocket. Amarachi gasped. "You did?" He handed her a tiny blue notebook and a pencil. "For school," he said, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. She blinked back tears. "Uche, this is the nicest thing anyone has done for me." "Not just paper," he shrugged. "No, it's more than that." She held it close. "This notebook, it means I'm still alive. It means I still matter." Uche smiled. "We both matter, from street rats to dreamers." She nodded. "And one day the world will hear our names." They sat together as the evening breeze danced around them. 2 lost children with hope in their hearts and Heaven House as their castle. Years passed, But neither Amarachi nor Uche ever forgot the nights they spent on a cracked concrete floor, beneath a roof of stars, in what they once called Heaven House. Chief Adewale had grown fond of Uche in ways the boy never expected. The old man had no sons, only daughters, all married and living abroad. Watching Uche work with humility and fierce dedication reminded the chief of himself in his youth. One evening, after they closed the timber site, Chief Adewale called Uche into his private office. "You've stayed with me now for almost 2 years, Uche," the man said, removing his glasses. "I've watched you grow from a street boy to a young man I can be proud of." "Thank you, sir," Uche replied, lowering his eyes. The chief reached into his drawer and dropped a small bunch of keys on the desk. "That flat beside my second warehouse, the one no one stays in, it's yours and Amarachi's now." Uche's eyes widened. "Sir? You heard me. You can't keep living in that uncompleted building. It's time for you two to have real beds, electricity, water, and peace." Tears gathered in Uche's eyes. "God bless you, sir. I don't even know what to say." "Say nothing. Just keep working hard." That evening, Uche raced back to Heaven House, where Amarachi was reviewing her notes under the dim light of a kerosene lantern. "Amara," he shouted from outside. "Pack. We're moving." She jumped up. "What are you talking about? Chief gave us a flat. A real flat. We're no longer street children." She stared, frozen. "Uche, is this real?" He nodded, laughing and panting. "Come and see for yourself." When she walked into the flat that night, painted walls, a kitchen sink, a mattress on the floor, windows with curtains, Amarachi broke down in tears. "God didn't forget us," she whispered. "They kept growing." Uche continued learning the timber trade. He started adding designs to furniture, began gaining attention from higher-end customers. Amarachi focused on school, and years later, with help from Chief Adewale and her own sharp mind, she got a scholarship to study business administration at the university. When she returned, she walked into her first job interview wearing a sleek black suit, confident, graceful, and no longer afraid of the word witch. She got the job. 5 years after moving into that small flat, Amarachi became the operations manager of a large logistics company. Her name was printed in magazines. Her face appeared on corporate boards. One afternoon, after inspecting a shipment, she stepped out of her office and dialed a number. "Hello? Amara?" Uche answered, his voice calm and full. "How's work today, big madam?" She laughed. "Too many meetings. What about you?" "I just finished loading chairs for that hotel in Lekki. The one that paid me advance." "Uche, I'm so proud of you." "And I of you," he said warmly. They had never become lovers. They didn't have to. They were more than that. Soul partners, survivors, dreamers who kept each other alive. That weekend, they met at their favorite spot. Now a small garden on the same land where Heaven House once stood. They had bought it. Uche built a small sitting shed there, surrounded by flowers. Amarachi placed a stone sign that read, "Heaven House, where hope was born." As they sat there, drinking malt and talking about their next plans, Amarachi looked up at the clouds. "Uche? Yes? If one day we write our story, what will we call it?" He smiled and said, "The Cursed Daughter Who Found Heaven." They laughed, and in that moment, everything that was broken had finally healed. It had been nearly 10 years since Amarachi last saw her mother's face. 10 years since that rainy night when she was beaten, bruised, and chased away into the darkness. Now, she stood tall in a polished cream blazer, heels clicking against the white tiles of a hospital corridor. She had received the call from a social worker just the day before. "Her name is Mrs. Neka Obioma," the woman had said gently over the phone. "She was hit by a motorcycle while crossing the road. No ID, no money. But she kept muttering your name." Amarachi froze. Her heart did something strange. Twisted, then settled. "She's in bad shape. Internal bleeding, fractured ribs. We need a next of kin." Now, walking into the ward, Amarachi didn't know what to feel. Not exactly anger. Not exactly pity. Maybe just closure. The woman on the bed looked older than her years. Her face was sunken, hair thinned and streaked with gray. There was no fire left in her eyes, only emptiness. The nurse nodded. She's conscious now. You can talk to her. Amarachi stepped closer. The woman blinked, slowly turning her head. Her eyes widened. Amarachi, she whispered, voice rasped and dry. My daughter? Amarachi said nothing. She simply pulled a chair and sat down. Tears spilled down the woman's face. I didn't know. I didn't know you would survive. I thought you died. They said street children don't last long. Amarachi's voice was quiet, but firm. I didn't die, Mama. I lived. I worked. I went to school. And I became everything you thought I could never be. Mrs. Obioma's lips trembled. Forgive me. I was blind. I was broken. I believed the lies they said about you. They were your lies too, Amarachi replied softly. You blamed me for things I didn't do. You starved me. You beat me. I was desperate, her mother cried. Your father lost his job. Your sister got sick. I thought you were the reason. And when you lost me, Amarachi said, standing up, you lost your reason too. There was silence between them, thick with all the years in between. I'm not here for revenge, Amarachi continued. I've paid your bills. You'll get surgery. After that, I'll find a care home for you. Her mother gasped. You'll take care of me? I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because I survived. And survivors don't carry hatred. We rise above it. A long silence. Can I see you again? Her mother asked, voice cracking. I don't know, Amarachi said. Healing is slow. But I came. That's a start. And with that, she turned and walked away. Head high, heart steady. Outside, Uche was waiting in a black SUV. How did it go? He asked as she entered. She's weak. Broken. But I think I needed to see that. To know I won. You've always won, Amara, Uche said, starting the engine. Not just over her. Over pain. Over darkness. She smiled faintly. Let's go. We've got a school to visit. I want to sponsor 10 girls from the street. Uche grinned. The cursed daughter turned savior. No, she said with a chuckle. The daughter who was never cursed at all. And they drove off. Toward light. Toward purpose. Toward the kind of future they had once only imagined on a cold, bare floor in Heaven House. The end.